Welcome back, and as we continue to track Wall Street's wild ride, there are some other stories we want to get you caught up on. Jeb Bush is expected to arrive any minute at the U.S. Mexico border in Texas, where he is meeting with local officials, and we'll talk, of course, immigration. He's expected to highlight the differences between his border plans and that of Donald Trump, who had that big rally this weekend in Alabama, drawing thousands. Chris Jansing is traveling with Jeb Bush near the border in McAllen, Texas. Chris, what is Jeb's goal this afternoon?
Well, he wants to draw a contrast, and Ari, that's not hard, is it? I mean, the two couldn't be more different on the issue of immigration. You can start with the basics of it, and Donald Trump, who wants to build that beautiful wall and deport 11 million people and only let the good ones back in, not very high on specific. Jeb Bush, who wrote a book 2 years ago just about immigration, 274 pages, I think it was, who absolutely wants to support birthright citizenship, who sort of rejects the idea that you can't deal with the rest of it until you deal with border security. Now, I should point out, he's not actually going to the border itself, just meeting with immigration officials here. But look, it's a very critical time in this campaign in the sense of this. People are starting to get a little bit nervous, and the campaign knows this, about the trajectory of Donald Trump. They still feel very confident within this camp that for the things he says about immigration and other things, that Donald Trump will eventually fade away. But in the meantime, you've seen a more aggressive Jeb Bush answering more aggressively, and I'm sure we're going to ask him to answer what Donald Trump said this morning, criticizing Jeb Bush, something he said many times, that for many people who want to come to this country, who are undocumented immigrants, it's an act of love, and that they should be treated in that way, something that Trump absolutely rejected today. He said he's going to come here and he's going to find out that that's not true. So it's not that hard to draw a contrast, and that's what his campaign says he wants to do here today, Ari. Yeah, a lot of action between them, Chris, and you're, of course, with the Bush campaign, but often we'd find you at the White House. I want to ask you another big item, the president having this private lunch today with Vice President Biden. Press Secretary Josh Earnest asked about it, and this is what he said.
The president has indicated his view that the decision that he made, I guess 7 years ago now, to add Joe Biden to the ticket as his running mate was the smartest decision that he had ever made in politics. And I think that should give you some sense of the president's view of Vice President Biden's aptitude for the top job.
Chris, you're an expert at the nuance and the care that goes into statements made from that presidential podium. Did that phrasing, the best, did that strike you as any farther than they maybe needed to go?
I think it's farther than we've heard them go before, and it's interesting because as you talk to senior administration officials, there's an answer that each of them will give you because they both know these two players very well. There's an answer they'll give you with their heart, right? There are those who feel very strongly about Hillary Clinton, about the historic nature of her candidacy. They're close perhaps to John Podesta and Jim Palmieri, who left the White House to go to work for Hillary or simply support her positions. Some of them who may have worked for her campaign when she was first beaten by President Obama. You have others who are very close to Vice President Biden who think that there's a different approach, who are concerned about what's going on. But when you ask them, what does your head tell you, not your heart, all of them say the same thing, Ari, and it is that we want the person who can win, who can continue the president's policies. And so take it in that context, what you heard Josh Earnest say today, but definitely I think a little step beyond what we've heard from that podium in the briefing room before.
Very interesting. NBC's Chris Jansing, as always, thank you for joining.